Welcome back to the STEAM Academy podcast. I'm Aven, and I'm here with Mr. Hewlett.
Hello.
So, how you doing?
The usual. Tired. 5 hours of sleep. 400 milligrams of caffeine and counting.
Honestly, mood. So, when did you, where did you go to college?
I went to Georgetown College. It's just up the road.
Oh, cool. So how long have you been a teacher? Or, I guess a sub?
I started, I think it was in 2012, so this would put me 12, 13 years. This is about my 13th campaign now.
Oh. So, and how long have you been a permanent sub at STEAM?
It's my second year.
So, why did you decide to become just a substitute instead of a permanent teacher?
Most of that comes down to not enough time, not enough money, but also, thing is, I got introduced to this job by a former friend of mine who had just gotten into teaching. Actually taught over at Tate's Creek High for a little bit.
I guess you're no longer friends since you said former.
Right. Well, old stories.
Does he suck or?
No, it's old relationships and things like that.
That's fair.
But she was like, you should give this a try and see if you want to make something out of this in the future. Well, that first year I probably had, I think it was like 12, 13 assignments, and this was over like 3 months, I think it was. And
That's not bad.
no. And what happened was it felt so good to, be in the classroom and helping out people. That's initially what happened. And then the next year I was at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. I ran into somebody that I had went to college with, Mr. Gary Egan, who's an English teacher there. I ran into him, and that kind of changed the story a little bit because
Change the vibes.
Well, more than vibes, really. It just so we exchanged phone numbers. I get a couple assignments with him, and suddenly he's passing my number around to the English department. And literally, I developed a good rapport with Paul Lawrence Dunbar English department, and then from there, go around a few places.
Like my middle
Leestown.
school.
Yeah, like Leestown.
Yeah.
The paddock is excellent, let's just say.
Yeah. Just jumping in here. He has been subbing for my classes since I was in 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw you was 7th grade.
Yeah, 7th grade. So, a while.
Not that long.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was like a break in a while, but
Well, Rona,
Yeah.
I got opinions about her.
We don't love her in this household.
No.
We do not stand. So I guess you already answered half the questions that I was going to ask. So what were you doing before you became a substitute?
Before subbing, I'd actually spent 18 months in the Northern Virginia area. I'd worked in a call center for a government agency.
Which
that was
one?
Has to do with transportation. But
the boring kind.
yes, some interesting people, but honestly, that was,
Not a very interesting job.
Yeah, honestly, it was like, glad we moved.
So where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Paintsville, Kentucky, which is about 2.5 hours east down the Mountain Parkway.
Oh, cool. So like out by the coal fields or what?
Yeah.
'Cause that's where my family's from.
Yeah,
We're in Harlan County, Kentucky.
Bloody Harlan.
Oh, I did an entire presentation I did a whole speech about that in Com 181 at BCTC. Whole presentation about it. Turns out some of my family members were in that.
No.
Yeah.
I wrote a paper about that in college.
Guess what?
I
So
think
did I.
that was my Kentucky Studies class. I think that was my Kentucky Studies class when I was in college. Dr. Clotter, who, in essence, has literally wrote the book, like the actual physical book on Kentucky history.
Slay. So, yeah, I have some ancestors who were there, you know. On the correct side, they were not a bunch of feds, and they didn't suck.
Right.
Yeah. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Like, was this ever a dream for you, or did you want to do something else?
Kind of my dream was to be a teacher.
Really?
What
What kind of teacher did you originally want to be?
Well, I didn't have a mind for exactly when I was younger, but when I was in high school, I was proficient at math, and I wanted to be a math teacher. And then come to find out, when I got to college, calculus is
Hard and boring.
that's a soft way of putting it.
It sucks. I took pre-calc. It sucks. I hate it.
I wish I'd taken pre-cal in high school.
You went straight from just algebra 2 to freaking calculus. No pre-calc, just calculus. Girl, I feel like that's not the right order.
I look back now, I'm thinking, yeah. You might be onto something there, Aven.
I already forgot everything I learned in that class. Like, all of it. Like, I vaguely remember some of it, but not really. It, in one year, out the other. The second I passed that class, out of it.
Yes.
I just decided this is not useful knowledge to me anymore.
Well, it would have been more useful, say, if I'd had that before and then got to college and then was able to stick all the way through with it. Mm-hmm. But, you know.
So what's your favorite subject to sub for?
It goes strangely against what I liked in high school, but English language arts.
Yeah, it's usually a more chill environment.
It is.
I mean, unless it's Miss Rose's classroom, she's the best.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's awesome.
Very chill vibes. Just literally just Halloween themed all year round. It's very much my vibe.
Yeah, it's really strange, you know, how the stuff that I had not liked and the stuff that I kind of think I missed out on back in the day with not liking the read, and I will not make a secret of that I was not a reader. I was not very good on assignments.
Are you a reader now?
Well, I like reading the internet.
That's so fair. Me too, honestly.
And most of that's like Bored Panda.
I don't know what that is. You and your old people.
Nah, it's you'd have to look that one up.
I am currently looking that up. Hold on. It's a magazine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, huh? All right. So, did you ever want to be like? Since you've become a sub, have you ever thought about becoming just a permanent teacher? Like, actually just regularly teaching a class?
I've always thought about it.
If you were to, would you still do math?
Probably not. I would think more. I would love more in the area of history, which history ended up being my major.
I like history. My brother was originally going for a history major, I think, with a teaching minor, maybe. But yeah, no, I think it was just history major. He wanted to become a history teacher and move to Sweden. He grew out of that phase. Now he's trying to become a geologist.
Stay curious.
Yeah,
I guess, right?
He went from a nurse anesthetist, he went to wanting to be a nurse anesthetist, then to being a history teacher, and now an environmental geologist.
It's entirely different worlds.
Oh yeah, all the way. But you know, I've always liked history. What's your favorite era of history to learn about?
Favorite era of history. Oh, gee, that is a good question. So, that is a good question. I would think that it would be kind of the era after World War II. I would like to look more into like like the Pleasantville vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just after when everything's just like trying to get itself back together.
Well, when everything's getting back together, when you have this what was portrayed in cinema and in television as like the perfect family type thing. The old black and white shows like Father Knows Best um, and movies that portrayed like the suburbia type thing, the perfection.
But
on
it
the
wasn't really all
outside.
like that. It was like
Right.
like
I would love to explore. I kind of love to explore what that's all about and what
Like-
was lying underneath. Like the Beat Generation, things like that.
yeah. And I think one of my favorite areas of history would probably be like super ancient stuff, like way ancient stuff. You know that there's like a severe lack of ancient portrayals of faces because they just didn't draw faces. Like they drew like stick figures or just faceless people. Sometimes it was just bodies with no head. Like even in sculptures, like one of our I think the oldest like portrayals of faces are like sculptures. And we also have these mummy portraits or whatever. I don't remember what they're called, but like it's just a painting of the person and it goes on top of the like sarcophagus or whatever for mummified people. So it looks really, really cool because it just looks like the person, so it just shows us that they just still looks like people, which is interesting.
And it probably also takes time too. I mean, pencil, paper.
Paint
if
and
you've
stuff.
got that, you can literally, if you've got that kind of photographic memory,
I
then
mean-
you can easily pull off, a drawing.
And
Now,
I draw.
yeah. So with sculpture, depending on your medium you're using, it's going to take a while anyway.
I think one of them was made out of a mammoth tusk or something like that. It was a tusk of some sort. So it was ivory, which is interesting.
Yeah. But with history, yeah, you're definitely right. There are a few elements to describing a person's like overall look. When you read a history book, you're not going to read about, this person was this, looked like this, had this hair color, eye color, or, was big, thin, whatever. No, you're going to hear about what they did and how that's interpreted. That's always what you hear.
Yeah. It's more about what they did and not who they were,
And nobody gets to see, the in-deep type stuff. Now, if you're looking at, like, say, more modern history, say you're talking about a president, you probably have many more files or recordings, media footage, some personal home videos or home recordings about how a president is outside of the press studio and all that. But what do you have? What kind of information do you have to go on now? Well, if you're like, say, a president in the 1800s, you're going to have to find
Letters and stuff.
letters, primary accounts, oral histories, if those kinds of things exist.
I mean,
And
if they're
who-
the president, yeah.
Yeah.
Here, have drawing of face. It's a side profile, but face.
Oh,
Person.
cool.
Anyway, so, yeah, for that and for most of that entire conversation, I was just drawing. I'm just staking out. It's not a very good drawing. I've drawn better, but, it's a face-ish. It's face adjacent.
It definitely resembles face.
It resembles a face. So, like, why did you want to come to Steam? Like, permanently instead of just continuing to, like, jump around like you used to?
I think it's because for some strange reason, I felt at home here.
Yeah, that's fair. I
I
like it here a lot, too.
I
Like,
the time that I had spent a couple of years ago was very formative in learning and appreciating the culture of this building. And I had been in the previous building too, the one on 6th Street, which was an old elementary school, an old WPA projects built elementary school.
and all of the things were too short for the high schoolers, so... and
Yeah.
it was also very leaky, I've heard. Probably some rats there, too.
Probably.
There's rats everywhere. Probably not
yeah.
in here, but, you know, there's rats.
Maybe. But yeah, just imagine 6'3". That's me, 6'3". And the height of the board is probably like not even 5.
You're just reaching down.
Yeah, so if I ever have to write anything, I'm just like crouching.
Gross
Literally.
pronouns are fee, fi, fo, fum.
Yeah. Yeah. But everything
Sorry,
about
I just like that joke.
yeah. But getting back to the academy, everything about the culture, the teachers, the students
I do quite like the
has
teachers here.
been amazing. You'll never find anything like that anywhere but here.
I mean, at least in Lexington. I don't know about other schools because I've never really visited any of them, but I do like it at STEAM. It's better than where I went to middle school or elementary school, especially recently because all of the people that treated me with disrespect are now either at BCTC or moved away or got expelled
Ouch. Ouch.
because they were the worst.
Well, that's
Which is a similar theme to what happened at my job, where someone was being just really, really rude to me, and to everyone, but specifically me, for like months, and then she got fired for it because the last straw was her saying, and I quote, "If you don't shut the frick up, I'll beat the autism out of you." And I said, "I wish you would," and she didn't because I knew that I could beat her up because she was a 5 foot nothing like twig. She looked like if she tried to punch me, she'd overextend her elbow.
or the fist would break like ice.
Yeah. I'm like a human shield. It's like I'm made of marble. Like, I'll feel it, but you'll feel it more.
And you might need a cast. And some glue.
or just like, yeah. She was not fun to be around, but now I don't have to see her ever again.
Let's hope she stays far away then.
Yeah, she better. But did you ever have any bad experiences with subbing, like specific like times where you just really didn't like a school or didn't like a class or just had a bad experience with a specific group of students?
I never say I have bad days. And the reason I say that is because every single day is different. One day you're going to walk into the same classroom and, they're going to be perfect angels. The next day you could walk into the same classroom. The next day, the same exact time. And
They're a bunch of little demon children.
to be super soft about it, yes.
Super soft. Demon
And-
children.
And I have seen that, just go from that point to that other point, or it'd be just this nice, cool, calm day, and it's 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Kids just be like that. So do you mostly, do you ever do any sub jobs outside of STEAM anymore?
I haven't since I haven't in 2 school years.
So, you just came to Steam and subbed for a while, and you were just like, you know what, this is the place.
Yeah, I was invited back when what was it?
Like they were just like, hey, can you become a permanent sub here? And you're just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the building sub at the time a couple of years ago had to leave for home.
Who?
Out of state. Honestly, I can't remember his name, but he had been here all year, and he left right around spring break.
We had a building sub.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I have terrible, awful memory. Terrible, awful, good.
Well, I can't remember. Well,
Terrible, awful, no good, very bad memory.
Unfortunately, I can't remember the names, so
Yeah.
I'm there with you. But
Look, before I could remember your name, I was like, oh, it's Doctor Who guy. Because I used to give you so much crap for that in middle school. I still like a little bit, but
but
Mr. owns more than one Doctor Who lunchbox.
But when
How many Doctor Who ties do you own?
Just 2.
Just is a wild statement to make. I don't think most people have even one.
Yeah. Well, most people aren't as unusual as I am, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, look, going back to how I ended up getting here, it was he had left. He'd suddenly had left to go back home. I think it was a family matter, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be too certain about what was going on there.
But there was some.
Something was going on. But I was invited here by the administration, and since
It's like, that Hewlett guy was cool.
Yeah, and since then, I've been here.
Yeah. I don't think there are any students in this building who don't like you, and if there are, I don't understand.
Well,
You just seem like a very likable guy.
well, my crazy thing is I'm not necessarily here to be liked.
Yeah, I know.
I'm here to serve.
Yeah, I know. But still, you're a
But
chill
yeah.
guy, you know?
But the love is I'll tell you right now, the love is absolutely appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier to make a class listen if they don't think you're the worst.
Well, it's not up to me to form your opinion or anybody else's opinion about how good or how bad I suck.
Yeah, I know.
And trust me,
I'm mostly joking.
I've had I've had quite a few who have had their choice words, and I'm talking about stuff you cannot say on children's television
Or on the
adult television.
podcast.
Or that too. Or in any sane environment.
Or where are they saying? Where is it? All right, I gotta get to lunch. So it has been wonderful having you on the STEAM Academy podcast. I've been Aven, and that was Mr. Hewlett.
Thank you, Aven.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast, and I will see y'all soon.